Good afternoon to all the participants. Let me just give a brief introduction about myself, even though Suhail has mentioned. My name is Syed Istiaq Rizvi, and I'm a consultant in the Accident and Emergency Department, where my main job is. And then I started this recruitment company, which was in 2003. And since then, we have been steadily progressing. This is a very specialized field in the sense that we deal with the health and the social sector both. We do have the accreditations, and that is the journey we took from the establishment of the company. And these are various accreditations, and for that we had to put systems in place which were extremely and have been very robust. Recruitment and Employment Confederation, they have their own parameters to meet before they would offer the membership. ISO 9000, they not only award on very stringent criteria themselves, but on an ongoing basis, the checks are conducted. These are audits in various forms. We are also the umbrella body for the CRB. So apart from running those for our own selves, it's about 100 other organizations who come to us for getting their CRB done. We are the main core, or the core of activity as far as we are concerned is what is called the National Health Service Buying Solutions. That keeps on changing its name. It was PASA, which was Purchasing and Supplying Agency of the National Health Service, is now called GPS, which is the Government Procurement Service. And we are one of the preferred suppliers on that. Also, in-house we have what is called the OISC, that is with the UK Border Agency. We have the arrangement whereby we provide immigration advice through that. The current contracts we have in place are a wide cross-section. Mainly it is the supply of locum as well as permanent positions within the National Health Service and also to the private sector, and that is for the doctors. Capital Care Services also holds the contract for the national contract for the supply of the nursing staff, that is all across the country, all four countries, which is England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. We are also national contract for the holder for the supply of allied and healthcare, health science staff. There is another contract which is called the LPP, which is the London Procurement Project, and that is for the supply of services, because the National Health Service is also changing and responding in the way that they have formed what are called the consortia, whereby they have the bulk buying power, so they can negotiate better rates for the supply of these staff. We are also the supplier for Hertfordshire, Essex, for the supply of the nursing staff. The market is a highly regulated one. It is the professionals that we deal with, and it's very competitive and also very demanding, in the sense that a lot of effort goes in making these staff compliant. As you know, that the press is always on the lookout for the opportunity, and the news is when God forbid something does go wrong, which is either a doctor who is working who doesn't have a proper check in place, or it is a nurse who has been administrating medicines without proper controls. So that is what makes the headline. And the public interest is very much there. They are concerned about the safety, and rightly so. They are the taxpayers, and there is a certain element of demand from their end that they do want a good quality service. And the best can be provided only when these systems are in place. The acute shortage of medical staff within the public sector, including the National Health Service, is very much there, and it is increasing, especially with the UK Border Agency ceiling on the number of staff that can come from overseas, either from the EU or from non-EU countries. In fact, just before the coalition government took over, there was something like 250,000 people coming into the UK at that time. That has been cut down to 22,500. So it's less than 10% visas that are being issued. So a gap seems to be increasing. The market within which we operate, unfortunately, domestic staff is not able to fulfill the demand which is put in place by the National Health Service and public service bodies. It would be possible, and then there are training issues involved as well, whereby those staff who are indigenous, they need to be properly trained to deliver what is expected of the public service bodies. There is a professional workforce requirement, and as I said, systems need to be put in place, and that takes time for that workforce to rise to that occasion. What do we have the competition with? We are in competition with some very big names and very big organizations. Bupa is in the private sector, Reed Healthcare, Hayes, a big American conglomerate with the name of Blue Arrow, who have been taking over different companies, and they hold the majority of the share. But we are competing with those, and that is because of the systems that we have evolved for the safety of for the safe delivery. Now, what are the challenges that we face as a business? As I mentioned, the competition is very, very tough out there. It's not only as far as the quality of staff delivery that is happening, but it has a lot to do with the margins which are being squeezed. These are the efficiency savings by the National Health Service, and it's the competition within the service providers. The cutback by the government, even though the claim has always been that the money has been ring-fenced for the National Health Service, but in real terms, I would say these are the cutbacks. And even though more money is being poured into the National Health Service, unfortunately, it's still not enough to deliver the kind of service which the public has come to expect, and the standards that have been set by the government. Recruitment of staff and retention within our offices is a challenge for us. I've been listening to the radio program 5 Live this morning, in fact, and this is what they have been discussing, which is the mismatch between what is on offer and what the employers expect. But unfortunately, the reality on the ground is slightly different, in the sense that we take on some of the apprentices and those who wouldn't have any experience in the field themselves, but we train them, and as soon as they have reached a certain level, they want to move on, and that is purely because of more money being offered by the competitors and some new organizations who are prepared to start the new business. So it is quite challenging. Now, the other things are, which is expanding the database of all doctors. We have something like 5,000 doctors alone on the database, and that is an ongoing process of increasing and expanding. The nursing desk again has a similar challenge ahead of them, whereby they need to have more nursing staff on the database to put out for the placements. Cash flow is something on which it is quite a challenge for us, in the sense that the contract that the government has laid down has the provision of providing what is called a 30-day guarantee period, that they would, once we have sent them the invoice, a placement has been completed, the invoice is sent off, they're supposed to pay up in 30 days. And in real terms, it is sometimes up to a year that the National Health Service trusts will sit on the money with one excuse or the other, saying that in fact, some of them have been very, very shameless, I would say, in the sense they put their hands up and say, we just haven't got the money. We need to wait for the next release in April, when the new budget comes in and the new money gets released. So you have to wait. And it puts us in a very, very difficult position. So we have to constantly pour in our own money to keep the business running. We want to move into bigger premises, which is bucking the trend. But then again, the bank is not prepared to offer those loans which the government keeps on talking about. They need personal guarantees on my personal property and personal money. Only then they would consider. They are not interested even in the building, which is bricks and mortars, on which they used to. It is something like 50 to 60% equity that they are looking in. And we have to put in 30 to 40% or even more to get this into place. We would very much like to have further investment, and if there are some investors out there who are interested in joining forces, then quite welcome. What's our vision as far as the future of the company is concerned? We want to expand our client base, which is both as far as investment and training for the staff is concerned, and expanding the database for all the staff. We are always on the lookout for delivery of innovative services to the health sector. And this is by means of diversification and looking at other areas and venues in which capital care services can expand into. So some areas of privatization are happening, and these are exciting times as far as the private sector is concerned. If they are geared up to that and they are in a position, then the opportunities are there. We have information gathering and exploring other venues. So some members of the staff are only working on this to look as to which direction the future delivery of the health service and social care sector is going to go. What is the route to success? We have extensive knowledge about the sector itself. My personal experience and my lady wife, Faiza, who happens to be the CEO of the company, has extensive experience of civil service background and dealing with the public sector. So she has the knowledge, the experience and expertise about the sector itself. Who are our target audience and clients? We need to have that knowledge to be able to deliver what their expectations are. Hard work once you start any business. It is a matter of being on call or available at the end of that phone 24/7, 365 days a year. Holidays is at a premium, and even if we are on holidays, then we still have to carry our mobile phones and laptops to make vital and appropriate decisions, because we are still in the process of evolving. Leadership is very important, and someone does need to take responsibility for their actions, and leading by example is what we follow. Set the example ourselves and for others to follow. There is constant update of information, knowledge, and technology that is needs to be tapped up. The computers which are bought a year ago have become obsolete already by the time the installation and they are connected onto the server with ready to go. The newer version is already in place. It requires a lot of commitment and dedication to run any business. So anyone who is planning to start anew really need to have that commitment, that they need to see it through. So with that, I'll bring my presentation to an end, and any questions I'll take. Thank you.
You were not a professionally trained recruiting agency before.
You're absolutely right, Suhail. What happens is that even though we have the in-house system in place, but that is something which I would say has been taught to me by others, in the sense that the bank manager comes in, the factoring company comes in, and they assess the risk, and then they present that profile to us, that this is the risk that you are running. So it is a commercial decision which at the end of the day then I have to make. So this is how it works. Another good example would be what is called by the National Health Service PASA, which is the Purchasing and Supply Agency, who have awarded us the contract. They conduct continuous audits. And there are some areas in that which are kind of marked as very, very serious. You know, someone who doesn't have a right to work, for example, and some of the agencies, in fact, have been struck off because of that. There are serious issues in that involved. And hence the need, as I mentioned in my presentation, is the CRB, for example. You know, we have certain bottom lines and baselines already in place. Anyone who doesn't have a right to work would not be entertained, and the application would not go any further within our own system. If they do not have a clear CRB, they would not be posted. The references need to back up what they are claiming to be. So that is how the risk assessment is done, and that is an ongoing process which is happening all the time within the organization.